Wait a minute.
Welcome to the NAO show. It's the crazy train of July. I don't know about you guys, but it feels like the NFL season is here finally. My phone is blowing up with notifications of hangnails and lost sleep and people not doing what they need to be doing, coming in 13 pounds too heavy and only running like a 4.4 now, like the NFL season is here. Do you guys know this?
Hall of Fame game is like, what, 5 days away? 6 days away?
So in 6 days, Dallas is going to lose their first game? Fantastic. Yeah,
We'll lose 8.
That's the definition of this show, y'all. We're going to look at the mock draft that we did a couple weeks ago, and we're going to tell you how great we did and how crappy y'all did. I'm looking at you, Evan, and Goofy. Yeah,
True story.
But first, like any other good NAO, fantastic, global, award-winning show, we'll do some trades first. Let's get into it, Marky Mark.
All right, let's do it. We got 2 trades to talk about. Maybe 1.5 trades to talk about.
I think a half is a fucking stretch too. So
probably giving too much credit, but we'll get there in a momentito. But let's go with the real trade here between Humpty and Airgate. So we got Humpty receiving Terrace Marshall, Des Fitzpatrick, and a 2023 second rounder, which is Sean's second rounder. Airgate receives Van Jefferson and Michael Carter. So, Michael, start us off on that one.
This you might be surprised that I'm going to say this, but I like this trade. I don't think there's much to hate about it. I think both sides got a lot of good stuff around it. We know that Ricky's a pretty good drafter, so that second round draft pick probably going to turn into something pretty good for him if he keeps it. Sean got some good running back depth. I think we're all looking for that. Michael Carter's a good one to go after. Let's get to this draft. Let's hurry up. Mark, you're up.
Let's go. Let's go.
Don't waste time on this stuff. Sean, tell us. You go first. I'll go last. Tell us, Sean, about this trade.
I hit fucking accept for a reason. Next.
That's it? Gosh, we always talk about the trades. Sorry, I'm going to have to burst your bubble. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. So
Michael Carter is going to be a fantastic running back for me. He's going to add depth in a position that is very, very difficult to get solid, good depth. All my other running backs are freaking one injury away, and I never want anybody to get injured unless his last name is Barkley, because that guy has fucked me a couple times in a league. So, yeah. And Van Jefferson, I think he's going to take a real good step forward this year. I thought that, and then I got my ideas confirmed by Marky Mark last week, because he gave him the ominous dominus of the commission. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll go get him too. So, boom, that's what I think.
Marky Mark, giver of the ominous dominus. Sorry, ominous dominus is that how we do it. Yeah, I did tell you that I like Van Jefferson. Maybe not this year, but looking ahead a little bit, Woods is going to be 30 next season. They've got to out on his contract for 2022, and I almost feel like they're going to take it. Kupp is going to be 30 in 2 years. They got to out on him in 2023. And Reynolds left already. So I kind of look at Van as maybe the number 3 this year, could be the number 2 by next year. And good athlete and second round draft pick, got the draft capital. There's a lot to like about him. So I really like his upside.
I think a really good comp for him is Deontay Johnson in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
He had a lot of guys in front of him, and he had Claypool drafted, which was automatically a wide receiver too. But but he's going to have fantastic upside this year. He's going as a wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside right now in an ADP. So I think that's kind of the path that Van Jefferson's going to take.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about Tutu Atwell at all. He's kind of small. I feel like he's going to be. I kind of feel like they got him as a special teams kind of guy, but yeah, I think that Jefferson's got a good path to some playing time by next year. Might need to wait a year, but I think next year might be his year. Michael Carter talked about him when we had Ricky on the show, and I asked him, how do you feel about that pass blocking? He's pretty poor in the pass blocking. He said that he's not worried about that he's going to go out he's going to be in there and he's going to run routes. I think we've all watched enough football that we know sometimes you come up there and you might think that he's going to run a route, but then the quarterback sees the defense and then he's going, telling the running back to move over this side, because here's where the guys come in and you're going to have to block his ass, So I feel like Carter's going to be a work in progress. I feel like it'll be kind of like the San Francisco backfield. It might be a committee. I do like Carter. If he can improve his pass blocking, he might get out there more. He's definitely got the upside. This year, I think he's going to be kind of a crapshoot because of the pass blocking is really poor. Anybody that looks at evaluates players has pointed that out as his biggest glaring deficiency. So we'll see what happens here.
Well, when I made the trade, he's my RB4, so I have the ability to wait for him. You know what I mean?
You can
that's a good point.
For pass block, Philip Lindsay, he can't block anything, and he does fine, 1,000-yard guy.
Yeah, no, it's a good point too. He's your number 4, and he's going to be a flex, and maybe he can be pressed into service if there's injuries. So it's definitely a good depth piece, man. I like his upside. I just think that I'm skeptical if he can jump right in there, especially with some of the other guys that are in there. So real quick on the Humpty side, Terrace Marshall. Yeah, this guy, I really liked him a lot. I was looking for him in rookie drafts, early second round. I think you got him number 10 there, Sean.
I did.
And not a bad place to get him. I don't know if I'd have had him in the first round, but he wasn't far past the first round. He was a 5-star recruit coming in. He played with Jefferson and Chase. So maybe we haven't seen the best of Terrace Marshall. I think he's going to be really good. Talked to Ricky, and he said he thought he could be a top 3 in the rookie of the rookies this season.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I don't think that's a big stretch. I think he's the kind of the dark horse. There's a lot of names before him, but I think he definitely could be in that top 3 conversation this year.
I think I mentioned that to Sean during or right after the trade, that Marshall's probably the one guy I'd want the most of any of these players specifically. But to get back Van Jefferson and Carter, I don't think it's bad to move that guy. But yeah, I think Marshall is the one guy. If I could pick any of the players involved, that I'd pick him the most. I'd want him.
I agree.
I felt like I had the ability to move him to gain a little depth in the running back room because I have Waddle over top of him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Waddle is my next man up, and I didn't have anything for depth at running back. So,
and Waddle's not even hurt right now in practice, so you're good to
go. Wait, breaking news.
Well, y'all can finish the show by yourselves. I'm out of here.
Yeah. If you hadn't heard, Waddle tweaked his ankle today, so everybody keeping an eye on that. But we'll see. There's a long time before.
I'm keeping 2 eyes on that.
Yeah, keep an eye on it, man. No, and Mike, Sean, this is the first time you didn't have to pay a king's ransom for a running back that could be a number 1. Nice. So hey, not bad, man.
He's learning, Ian. He's learning.
Yeah, he's learning.
Whoa.
All right, so on Humpty's side too, Des Fitzpatrick. I think I liked him more before Julio came there, because he only had to kind of supplant Reynolds, who has been a number 3. No guarantee he could be the number 2, but with Julio there, Des is probably going to be 1 or 2 years before he comes to fruition. But I think he can do it. He's not He's not as good as Marshall, I don't think, as an athlete or upside, but he's got good size and some good metrics, and could definitely be a number 2 within a couple of years there. So, of course, Humpty's watching Tennessee guys closely, so maybe he sees something in him that he really likes, and maybe that's why he went after him. Second round is always good to have. So it was a good trade. It was a pretty even trade. By the numbers, Sean won it, but yeah, it's yet to be determined and see how these guys develop. So let's go on to our next trade so we can get to that draft, because Mike's over there just itching.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, like I said, maybe we don't call this a full trade. I don't know what you call this thing. So the
win.
Yeah. The DBs, and that does not stand for defensive backs. They get Timmy Tebow, 33-year-old tight end. I put him into the trade calculator. He's not even there, man. He's just not there. So I don't know what his value is on a trade calculator. FNG gets Chris Herndon.
He's not in keep trade cut either.
Herndon's not, or you Timmy Tebow's not. Yeah. Yeah, they're not even bothering. They're like, yeah,
His
whatever.
value is uncalculable.
It's like let's see if he makes the 53, and then we'll put him in there. So FNG gets Chris Herndon, who they just picked up off waivers that day, which really ticked me off. If FNG was paying any of attention, he would have been like, they're just going to drop him again. I'll pick him up later, And he got a 2023 fourth round, 2023 fourth rounder, not a 2022 fourth rounder. Out of the 17 fourth rounders that the DBs had, he gets the 2023. But Ricky said he really liked this trade for FNG. He thought it was the best move he's made so far. Mike, tell us your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I was actually
blockbuster.
My only thought on this was pretty much Ricky's point. He turned a 5th round pick into a 4th in Herndon.
Yeah.
And I mean, percentage wise on the value you've gained, it's got to be the biggest trade that anybody's, the biggest profit and trade we've ever seen.
My analysis, my professional opinion on this blockbuster of a trade is womp, womp, womp. Let's go. Let's go to the fucking mock draft. I'm done with this bullshit of a trade.
Well, inside info is that it really was a thing that Brandon really wanted him back. And I guess there's a little animosity between the DBs about Evan trading him away when Brandon wasn't looking. So he's, they're reunited and they feel so good. Everybody's happy again.
I can just see Brandon in his workout room with a picture of Tebow shirtless. Yeah, I'm going to become him.
Well, last thing I'll say about this trade, Wall of Shame is to be determined. I kind of have to agree that if Tebow comes out there and does some things and has got any kind of relevancy for fantasy, then we can't put him on the Wall of Shame. But I think everybody's just itching to get them on the Wall of Shame for trading for Tebow. So we'll see how that goes.
Golly. They picked him up and dropped him and then traded for him.
Yeah. And like I say, Herndon, they would have dropped. They put I know Curtis Samuel went on the PUP, so they put him down on IR. They had one more guy that went on PUP. So they got 3 guys on the injured reserve already. And that's the only way they were able to pick up Chris Herndon. As soon as one of those guys, Thomas isn't coming off, but Samuel and the other dude probably will. As soon as one of those guys comes off, Herndon was going to be a drop. So FNG, if he was smart, I don't know. FNG seems like he's a pick whore, man. He just wants those picks, man. So he doesn't care what year, what round. He just wants picks, man. He's in total rebuild mode. So anyway, I guess we'll get on to the draft, because that's what everybody's excited to talk about. So I'm just going to tell you guys, what do you guys start us off? Whichever one is most excited about it, start us off. Tell us what you think about the draft. And set it up here. It's the draft that we did a few weeks ago, where Sean got us all on a Saturday and said, hey, you guys want to do a super flex draft, 10 teams. And it was a lot of fun, man. We had a ball and we voted on it. So we're gonna analyze it a little bit a couple weeks later. Which one of you guys wants to start? I don't care who.
Yeah, go ahead. I think you have some things to get off your chest about this draft, and I want to
True.
hear it.
True. Let's let him vent. That's probably good. Let's let him vent, man.
All right, here we go. Let me get on my soapbox. And I want to talk about Goofy. I would like to talk about how in a 1 quarterback league, he drafts 16, 17 quarterbacks. I may be exaggerating by 1. And in a 2 quarterback league, he drafts Lamar Jackson, which is kind of like an iffy pick right now in the 2nd round. All right. Mind you, Dak Prescott was still on the board. Herbert fully loaded was still on the board. Russell Wilson was still on the board. And that guy that keeps on, what the hell was his name? Reigning MVP. The guy that he traded for in the NAO. Fuck. Oh, yeah. Aaron Rodgers. Like, these guys were all still on the board, and he gets this iffy guy at Lamar Jackson that still hasn't proven he can throw the ball more than 40, 50 yards. So that was exciting. The fact that in the league that was legitimately set up for him to go out and do what he likes to do and draft fucking quarterbacks, he does not draft a good one, to say the very least. I think Stafford in the 4th round could be construed as a pretty good pickup in the 4th round, but there was still like Joe Burrow, Tannehill, Hurts, Trevor Lawrence still out there, Mayfield. I think even Matt Ryan would be a pretty good pick over him. But I mean, you really dropped the ball in the draft that was designed for you, my man.
But don't worry, he picked up all the wide receivers between rounds 7 and 13. If you were a wide receiver, you got drafted then, and you went to Goofy's team. Are they good? Some of them were good, a long time ago. But you want to point out who was on the board on some of those picks? We could do that too.
Oh man, I don't know if we can get to all the people that he passed up for all these wide receivers he took in like 7 rounds.
You got Ridley and Thielen as your wide receivers 1 and 2, based off draft position.
Man, he did have a run there, didn't he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I feel like he was kind of overcompensating because in pick 7, he took JT, which is kind of funny because I feel like he thinks JT is going to be better than Dobbins on his own team, but he's too scared to move Dobbins in the NAO to get something out of him. So I don't know.
He loves some old ass players, doesn't he? Remember we gave him hell on his startup draft because he picked a lot of old guys and it was a dynasty, and we've talked about how he's going to age out here pretty soon. He got Landry and Thielen there. So it's like, it seems like he loves some old ass receivers,
Corey
old ass
Davis
players, man. Yeah, Davis.
Like
I mean,
Johnson.
not as old, but went to the Jets, and who knows with him? He's had one good season.
Well, the Jets just signed their quarterback today, so now they can
Yeah.
really get rolling.
They finally got it done 4 or 5 days into training camp, right? Finally got it done. Yeah. I wanted to give Evan a little bit of the business, as we old guys say, for being a Gibson homer and taking him in the, what was that? It was the 2nd pick. Yeah. Picking him in the 2nd round at pick 210. So I'm looking at it, and
Who are the running backs after him?
that's what I'm looking at, man. That's what I'm looking at. I mean, so you got Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, Cam Akers before we knew he got hurt, Joe Mixon, CEH. I would take all of those guys over Antonio Gibson. I really would.
Mhm.
Dobbins was the next one, and that's the first one where I think it's almost even money. And then after that, I think you would have been in the clear. But I mean, Dobbins was in the third round or fourth round. All these other guys were in the third round, and he's going Gibson there. That's just a big homer move right there, man. I didn't really like that pick whatsoever. And I think, Sean, you were talking about the Russell Wilson pick there. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it was kind of weird because, I mean, like, yes, we were drafting for a super flex league, but look at all the people that he passed up on to get Russell Wilson, which I think is kind of poor drafting on his part, because there is a lot of really good upside quarterbacks in the league right now. You don't need to get quarterback 4 because the difference between 4 and 8 is like maybe a couple touchdowns and maybe a few yards. You know what I mean? Like, you could have waited another 4-5 rounds to get a really good upside quarterback. I mean, yes, you got Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson, but you could have gotten another running back to really hone in that freaking homer pick in round 2. And then you're passing up on wide receivers like your boy AJ Brown from Tennessee. You know what I mean? Like
his boy.
Stephon Diggs, like you passed on all those guys to get
Calvin Ridley too. Calvin Ridley. Yeah, I think me at the turn would have been like a better running back than Gibson, and one of Diggs, Ridley, or AJ Brown. I would have liked this draft a lot better if that's what it looked like at that turn right there. Because you look down the line, he's got Allen Robinson, Mike Evans as his first 2 receivers off the board. That's not as exciting as guys like Diggs, Ridley, or Brown.
I will never say anything negative about Mike Evans, but I agree with you. It would have been better if it was AJ Brown and Mike Evans.
Yeah. Fantasy wise, not Tampa Bay Bucks fan wise. So
always.
What'd you think?
Give me Evans in the 5th. That's fine. I think Robinson in the 4th is really where the Russell Wilson pick kind of is glaring. Because you're and actually, even to me, I guess you probably could have put Evans in the 4th, and then you start looking at some of those guys. I mean, you could have had Evans and Amari Cooper at that point, or Evans and Godwin. And then, like we talked about a little bit, the difference between a redraft draft and a dynasty draft. Throw me a guy like Brady in the 6th or something like that, and in a deep draft, like that's fine with me. Like, sure, he's going to age out soon, but in a redraft, I don't care. I know he's going to score consistent points. You have Mahomes to pick up the slack, you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because in terms of quarterbacks, it is a super flex or 2 quarterback league, so I get taking them high. But in terms of quarterbacks drafted, Goofy took him in the 2nd and 4th, and the only person that took quarterbacks higher than that was Evan at 1 and 3. So he took him by far the earliest of anybody.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I really don't think he took the best person. You know what I mean? Like, I know Dak was gone and Jackson is kind of iffy, but what about Rodgers? Like, he was freaking MVP last year. Why is he not picked 3, first pick in the 3rd round? Like, what's that guy got to do? Like, maybe he was thinking, all right, Rodgers may or may not come back to play football this year, so I can't take him. But it was interesting.
Yeah, for me, it's not so much Wilson himself. I don't think that's a bad pick. I'm just looking at the fact that you got Mahomes, you got the top guy. So go heavy at RB and wide receiver next, because you got the top guy. So you can wait a little longer, and Mahomes will pick up the slack for somebody that you pick down further. So yeah, especially Rodgers, like you say, being down there. Mahomes Rodgers would have been a nice little QB stack for a super flex. And he put in, even if you kept Gibson there, but you put in somebody like, Diggs, AJ, like what I can, Ridley, what I consider a better wide receiver than what you got down there in 5th place or 4th and 5th round there.
just
So.
think of it this way. Like, if he were to go AJ Brown in the third, he may have been able to come back around and get a tight end. That's a top quarterback. And I don't think Anthony Gibson is a top running back, but numbers would disagree with me, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh,
I like him, just not there where he picked him. I think he could have been had later. Maybe he would have fallen there in the third, on his third pick.
Yeah, I would have liked him more in the third pick.
Well, he would have. It was at the turn, so I mean, he would have been there. But yeah, he might have even been there on that where he picked Robinson. So
I'm just saying it would have looked better if it was Patrick Mahomes, AJ Brown, and then Gibson, and then he might have been able to go out and get Waller. You know what I mean? Because Waller went in the 5th round, third pick. He might not have had Evans, but wide receiver is so deep, he would have had a top player in each of his positions.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. It's a good
Fit in
point.
some depth.
Well, let's give the other DB the business for a little bit here, because I got a little note on him, man. Tell me what you think about this. So Brandon was doing his best goofy and taking 5 quarterbacks.
Yeah, that was what I saw too. Yeah.
And so he took 5 quarterbacks. Okay, it's a super flex league, but I don't think he took really good quarterbacks.
No.
I'm seeing Herbert, which, okay, that's fine. That was his first one. And he gets Hurts, Tua later on, and then he goes down here and gets Winston and Roethlisberger. It was almost like he was panicking, It's like he looked at, oh man, I got Hurts and Tua. I gotta shore that up. So he panics and gets Winston and Roethlisberger. So I'm looking at the Winston Roethlisberger area, and I'm thinking, why didn't you pick Winston and Taysom Hill? Because then you've got a fourth. You got one of those guys is starting. That would be your 4th quarterback. You drop the other one, and you make a waiver wire pickup. Whoever your favorite guy is. And a lot of times, if you draft smart, maybe you got a throwaway guy there that you can be quick on the waiver wire to pick up somebody that's hitting early on. So I look at that and I'm like, goodness sakes, dude, 5 quarterbacks, I mean, you get 3 quarterbacks in a super flex and you make the most of them. So I look at his quarterbacks besides Herbert and I'm just like, wow, 5 quarterbacks. And I really don't like 4 of them.
James Winston was a complete dud of a pick, in my opinion.
I think so, because I don't know that he's a starter. That's what I say. If you go Hill, Winston there, then okay, at least you've got the starter and one that you can drop. But just to pick Winston, and then Hill went undrafted in this draft.
Yeah, I would have taken, if you had Winston Hill in a draft like this. I think if you have one, you try to get the other in any league right now.
Right? Yeah.
What you're gonna do? Yeah.
I would just not draft any of them.
There's also that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think full year, one of those guys in a full year on a Sean Payton team is going to do all right. I think they're going to drop off a little bit. They're going to pass a lot. I think they're going to have to play from behind some and be passing a lot. So I wouldn't mind, hitting up both those guys and then taking whoever's starting week 1 and hitting the waiver wire week 1. So yeah.
I want to make a point. So team 3 of the auto draft.
Yeah.
That team is pretty freaking good. It's got Cooks, Hopkins, Jones, Montgomery, and then it's got Waller in the 5th round, Gaskin as RB4, and then Galladay as wide receiver 2. And then it gets to the point where it wants to draft freaking quarterbacks. And the quarterbacks are pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Got Lawrence and Cousins back to back. I mean, that team's not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind that one. I would Gaskin in the 6th is a little, probably for me, a little weird, but
Well,
He's
I mean,
probably a little high for me, but I'm probably against consensus on that one a little bit.
yeah, I think he's going to be the starter there. I think he's going to get.
Well, there
most-
he's
most of the carries.
RB4 for the team, and you can only start 2. So
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
really
would
not a
put my
bad death
receiver
piece.
there.
Yeah, not a bad death piece at all. The team 10, man, I was telling you guys at pre-show, sniped me pretty good a couple of times, man. Because at the so I picked AJ Brown there at 3-9, and I'm like, okay, I'm picking 2 picks, and I'm picking again. I'm gonna get Kittle or McLaurin, and they picked them both. And then the same thing happened after my Rodgers pick. I was like, okay, I'm going to get Rodgers here because that's a good number 2 quarterback to have, fall to me in the 5th round. So I'll go for Godwin or Lamb next. And he picks them both again. So the computer was kicking my ass there at number 10, man. It was a good learning experience for me. But yeah, all 4 of those guys, they got 3, 4, 5, 6 round, or guys I was targeting for my turn pick and never came to fruition. So I was praising whoever that team 10 is, man. I tell you.
I like that in the 15th round, Ian started to go into his I need everyone else's backup running back mode. You know that it was going to continue at that point.
Yeah, it wouldn't be an NAO show if we didn't give Ian a little bit of crap. So my notes on him, and I'll let you guys have at him, was that I liked his first 4 picks, but then I pretty much hated the rest of his picks, except for Damian Harris in the 11th, who he did snipe from me. I was looking for him in that round doing
RB3.
I was doing my RB3. He's gonna be he might be RB1, man. And then you're gonna have to buy me dessert along with drinks and dinner. But me doing my modified RB0, I was looking for Harris in that round, and he sniped him. But yeah, like his first 4 picks, and then everybody else was just like, what do you guys think about our buddy Ian's draft?
Yeah, I think, sorry, Titans fans, I think Julio Jones in the 5th might be a little stretch considering who else was on the board at the time. I don't think Julio is going to be bad NFL production-wise, fantasy-wise. I'm staying away in the 5th right now anyway.
Yeah, way too early for me too.
Ian's fucking love child, Robert Woods, was still on the board.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, look at
jump all over him.
Hey, Brady and Tannehill is an interesting combination of quarterbacks.
Yeah,
for a two quarterback league, but
I think they're pretty good quarterbacks.
But don't worry, you have Daniel Jones as your backup, who's maybe a cut candidate partway through. So that's great.
Yeah, you never know when it's gonna fall apart for Brady. Sorry, John, I'm not trying to say anything, but he is older, and he's one big hit could take him out. I like Tannehill there, but it's hard to be excited about Brady. Tannehill is your 1-2, and then Jones is your 3 guy, man.
Individually, I don't think I hate either one very much, but to put him as your team, it's the most boring combination of quarterbacks in a superflex I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is Ian we're talking about. He is pretty fucking boring just in general.
Yeah, that Jones pick is definitely Cooper after him, Godwin, Lamb, Woods, even Jamar Chase, DJ Moore going. I would have liked all of those guys ahead of Julio. Julio, if he'd have fallen to maybe the 7th, okay, but 5th round, I agree with you, Mike. That's just not a great pick. So
he was still in Atlanta when we did this draft, wasn't he?
I think he was.
Was he?
Still, that doesn't help it at all.
I don't know.
Everybody knew he was leaving. It was pretty obvious.
Yeah. I don't know.
Which is even worse. You drafted him without even knowing where he was going. Stupid.
Stupid.
Tank Top Mike coming in with the hot takes this week on NAO.
Yeah. Then you look down and he's got, he goes with Metcalf and Jones, and trying to make up for it later. He's got Debo, who's in a committee kind of thing at San Francisco, plus gets injured a lot. Anderson, not a horrible pick in that round, but and then Antonio Brown, Nicole Hardman. I really feel like, in our league, he's really good at receiver, and in this league, he kind of screwed the pooch, I think.
Let's fucking face it. This guy, the guy that will not be named, is really good at bending over the guys that have pretty good dudes and just going, come here, big guy. Give me that running back. Give me that wide receiver. I'll give you a 5th round pick. Guy that's supposedly going to be a tight end 17. All right. And then magically it fucking happens somehow.
Yeah. Psst. Hey, Pats fan, I've got James White and N'Keal Harry.
They're totally going to be RB7.
Oh, man. We kid because we love. No, that doesn't work for you, does it?
Yeah, we love the kid because they're
it.
all dumbasses.
What can I say? We're just dudes talking about dudes who play with other dudes.
Finally.
Woo,
It's
finally
like
got
7 weeks we've been trying to do that.
Finally fitted in there. That's what she said.
That's what she said. And on that note, Ian, you still suck.